Okay,
So
so
when we
you're in favor of abolishing
well, if you're
ICE.
in favor of abolishing
ICE.
ICE, you're really going to hate what I think next.
So
I
ICE.
think we should bring every single last one of our military home
Okay.
and put them on the borders.
Amen. Amen to that.
I
Okay. So
want to bring all of our soldiers home.
We have no business. You know that.
I agree. We
know
do
the-
not have business there.
You know
yay,
the
we
so-
agree. Bring our troops home.
the-
Yes, bring them home. Get them out of bullshit wars.
I agree.
I agree with that one.
But most of the Democrats don't agree with that.
This one does.
Well, I have to look at his voting record. But here's the point.
Sure.
You want to abolish ICE. Why don't you say to Agnes Gibbony?
Who?
Agnes Gibbony is an angel mom.
I don't know who that is.
Okay, Agnes Gibbony had her son lost. She was killed by a deported illegal alien who was deported many times in 2002, and he's about to be released in our state shortly because California is a sanctuary state. Nevada is not a sanctuary state. That's why the illegal alien killer in Reno is going to get the death
If it was
penalty.
you or me, we'd be in.
So what do you say to Agnes, who lost her son?
I'm sorry for your loss,
Mm-hmm.
but the death penalty isn't really going to help anybody.
Okay, but do you think that killer should be released back into the U.S.?
I don't know the specifics of your case. If that is true, then that is an injustice, and I believe he does deserve life in prison. Just like we would with any
Not in
other-
America. Not in America.
What do you mean not in America?
The,
What not in
the
America?
killer should not be in America. The killer has to be removed.
The thing is, if it was one of us, we wouldn't be released. We would be going to prison.
Yeah, I agree.
As if it was him, you, me, this guy, we would go to prison. We wouldn't get released like that.
I don't know the specifics of your case. I don't know if he's being released from our prison to be put in another prison or in his home country. I don't know the specifics of this case.
Okay.
The death penalty is not going to help you, and in any any place where there's enough people, there will be murders, and it's just kind of a statistical inevitability that somebody's going to be dead.
Okay. So what?
Statistically speaking, however, illegal immigrants do commit less crime than native-born citizens.
Right.
Trying to dump out all of
Okay,
these
I
illegal
see that.
immigrants.
I see that. But here's the thing. Do they commit more crime than legal immigrants? Legal immigrants.
I wouldn't know.
The answer is yes. They commit more crime than legal immigrants because
They commit more, but they commit less crime than native-borns.
well, I'm not going to debate you on that, but they commit more crime than legal Americans because let's look at this. Santa Ana, California has a lot of illegals. Irvine, California has a lot of legal immigrants. That is why Santa Ana has more crime than Irvine, California. So that just shows you.
You're gonna have to.
Well,
You're gonna have to connect those dots a little harder here. You're
well,
gonna.
at least to
Okay, but
me,
legal
Private-
immigrants
pri-
have been checked. Legal immigrants have been checked. Illegals have not. A lot of them have not been checked. And many of them are part of gang members. So that just shows you if you secure the border, we will still have less crime.
Well, here's the thing. First of all, a lot of these illegal immigrants come in through legal ports of entry. So So if you're talking about building a wall, or you're talking about putting more agents onto the Sierra Nevada desert, or all these places, I'm not sure. Between the border, that's not really going to help much.
Okay,
But let me finish my point. So, if you do mean that we should, check these immigrants and deport the ones which are bad or which are gang members, I agree with that. But here's the thing:
not according to many of the Democrats. They don't agree with that. They
you're
should,
not arguing with them; you're arguing with me.
Okay, but I hope you confront them.
You're not. I do. I would. You're
Please.
not. You're not talking about them. You're talking to me. If you're talking about getting rid of of immigrants which are criminals, I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
However, giving immigrants which are here unlawfully a path towards citizenship has a lot of benefits in that it allows the government to check and vet these people, and also it encourages these immigrants who are here unlawfully to talk with authorities and work more.
Not
with
fair
law
to my mom.
enforcement.
Not fair to my mom.
I don't care about your mom.
Okay, well, it has to be fair to legal people who did it.
It is beneficial to legal people but it is beneficial to legal people. If there is an illegal immigrant who is willing to talk to police about what he sees, or talk to police about abuses without the fear of being deported, that benefits you, that benefits me, that benefits your mother.
Okay, but do you know why I have a concern with that? Because you're talking about people who came here unlawfully, so which is unfair. Many of them steal identification, buy social security cards, or get paid under the table.
Some of them, I don't know the specifics.
Many of them
that.
do, and they admit that they do.
Would they have to commit that crime if they had their own social security numbers?
Well, look, they have to.
They wouldn't have
but-
to be stealing it if we let them have it.
Right, but because they have. But if they came through the legal port of entry, through the process, they would have gotten social security numbers.
The legal process is long and painful and it's way too...
Well, really? Well, you know what? Getting into Harvard isn't easy. So why don't we just let everybody into Harvard?
This isn't Harvard.
America has the right to limit the number of people that come in.
I disagree with the limits you want placed.
Really? So how many people should come in every year? How many?
I don't know the specifics numbers, but if somebody
It's
is
1 million right now. How many you want to come in?
If somebody is already here and is already has a job, already paying taxes, they should have the right, at least I believe, to legal citizenship.
Well, but they get more in benefits. They get more in benefits than they pay in taxes.
That's
because
not
they
true.
get public schools.
That is not true.
They get Medicaid.
That is not true.
They get Medicaid. They get food assistance programs. They get a lot of other benefits, especially on their children.
You cannot get those benefits without being a legal citizen. It is point blank false that illegal immigrants
Depends
take
on the
out of
state.
those systems.
Depends on the state. California is pretty generous. New York is.
Illegal immigrants do pay income taxes. They do, but in many of these states, they're not allowed to get out any benefits.
But their children gets the benefits.
Yeah, those are children. Those are legal citizens.
And
They're
I heard they
entitled
get
to those
tax
benefits.
refunds because they can use their dependents. That's what I've heard.
You need to, in order to file taxes, you need to do that through the IRS. They're not going. They're not going to do that.
So you're saying that it's okay for them to commit identity theft. It's okay to take many jobs which Americans can do because they do in Las Vegas.
They don't.
Okay, so we've got 300,000 or so non-legals in Las
There have
Vegas.
been plenty of studies on
What
this
jobs
that
are they doing in Las Vegas?
Jobs Americans are not
Like
willing to
which
do.
one?
Dog walking, gardening, housekeeping, some low end.
Not all of them are doing those jobs, sir. Not all of them are doing those jobs. And we are upset at the employers.
What jobs did they take from hardworking Americans who have gone?
Good question.
Name
Good
them.
question. Construction. Construction is a job that we can train our own people to do those jobs, and we can basically pay higher wages. And by the way, many of these work sites, whether it's in the casinos, they now require you to speak Spanish. So this to me is a form of invasion. I go to these buffets and nearly all of the employees speak Spanish. This is a form of invasion. I mean, many of these cook jobs, many of these serving jobs, many of these front desk jobs, even gaming dealers that could be just done by non-citizen green card holders, they can actually be done by American citizens, but employers don't have a desire to hire them.
And whose fault is that?
The employers. And
There
we're
you
going to
go.
e-verify. We're going to punish them.
Punish the employers?
Yes,
I
we're
agree.
going to punish them.
I agree, but here's the thing. Why are they more willing to hire undocumented work?
Good question.
Because it's cheaper.
Yeah, but that comes at the expense of our people.
Yeah, so...
And then if you keep bringing these people who get benefits for their children,
So-
our taxes go up.
So
because
radical-
where does the money come from?
So, radical idea.
Where does the money come from? We have to pay it.
So here's a radical idea. They pay workers. Can you please turn off the camera? I'm trying to talk to you, man.
Okay. Well, you want to finish your thought? But I just want to make one last point before I go off. The fact is that I am in favor of taxing remittances to Western Union.
What's a remittance?
When they send money through Western Union and MoneyGram, I want to tax that money.
Why?
Because we could generate more money. You guys love taxes, and it would reduce the incentive for them to come here and send much of their money abroad. We could fund the wall very easily if they tax money.
Why do you even want a wall? It's a waste of money.
A lot of countries have it. It's border security. There's human
sure,
trafficking.
I mean,
There's
sure.
drugs coming in.
Through legal ports of entry.
No, but a lot of them are coming through the bypass routes.
The vast majority of these drugs which are smuggled into the country come through legal ports of entry.
But there's
Wall isn't
about
gonna do
20 to
anything about
40% of them that come through the shadows. and so do other non-legal arrivals. They
know
don't
this-
all come through visa overstays. They cross the border.
I don't know the specific numbers on this, but the vast majority of this isn't going to be solved by a wall. It's a waste of money.
Right, and so we should let lots of people in and let the entire Las Vegas Valley make it look like the third world hellholes that you see in Bonanza and Nellis Boulevard and all these areas that are just a nightmare. You
that
want
what
to
you
turn
see?
Henderson into one of those neighborhoods?
Is that what you see?
I'm talking about 10 miles north. 10 miles north, they're third world hellholes. And a lot of businesses that are not written in English. A lot of them don't even speak English. They're low income. We don't need to import poverty into our country.
We don't import poverty, though. Employers create poverty. Here, let's get back to that radical idea I was gonna talk about. If we
agree.
If we
but
make it so that regardless of whether they're legal or not, they have to be paid living wages, that lowers the incentive to hire undocumented work, because a lot of these jobs which undocumented immigrants are taking up, they're taking up for much lower wages than you would your average American citizen. And they get away with that.
But here's what
because
bothers
they are
me.
literally let me finish I'm not actually finished my point.
Go ahead. Sorry.
And employers get away with that specifically because if unlawful immigrants cannot speak up about this to authorities without fear of deportation. If you give them a path toward citizenship that allows them to speak up about these abuses, that discourages the employers from abusing them in this manner. And B, if you just pay a living wage in the first place, even if illegal immigrants are would ask for a lower wage, it wouldn't matter. They'd still be paid what you would your average citizen.
Okay, that is a good point. We have issues with the CEO and the top corporations. That's what we will agree.
Right.
But here's my problem, though. I feel like that there is an evil plan. There is an evil plan to basically. There is an evil plan, believe it or not. Don't you think that it's supporting a corrupt agenda where they're trying to literally transform not only America, like Las Vegas, the people have power and control all over the world?
Name them.
Good question. I suggest you research, I don't know, all these secret societies or whoever. The powerful people, they're having a global agenda. Even the UN is part of this plan. The same immigration process is happening in Las Vegas. It's the same thing happening in London, Paris, the Yellow Vest movement, and in Berlin. Those areas are being transformed. What do they all have in common? They're westernized societies. They want to bring down Western societies. So they're importing people from all over the world here. They're importing Muslims and Africans in Europe. And it's all designed to destroy those societies. And corrupt politicians with all those people up north, they pump these Reeds, Mastos, and Cortezes, and all these people and change our laws, raise our taxes. We don't want this. This is why we're upset.
Yes, we do. We want this. 54% of Americans want Medicare for all. A majority of Americans want reasonable gun regulation. A majority of Americans want all of these things. Want a Green New Deal. A majority of Americans want these things.
Well, first of all, those immigrants and those culinary union, they did not support Bernie.
They're not allowed to vote, and it doesn't matter what they want.
Well, that is a good question, but many of them are canvassing and they're filling up districts, so indirectly they have an impact. And the politicians continue to go to their organizations.
Let's go back to the point you were making about global societies, because you're shooting the wrong horse here. There isn't a secret society underground trying to undermine Western society.
Well, Bernie should admit it, because we have high income
There is
inequality.
an above ground society of people trying to take over these things. We call them the 1%. That's who we're railing
Well, yeah,
against.
the powerful people, but they're
The powerful
implementing
people
a
are the
global
people-
plan. What do you make of Europe being transformed into a non-European society? Doesn't that blow up the Native American argument that we have the right to be here because we're indigenous? Because it's the same process that's happening in Europe.
Those people are here legally, and I do not think ethnic replacement is a problem at all.
You don't think London is going to be like a Muslim city? Do you
I don't
see
think-
why
it's
we
not
have
going-
Charlottesville?
It's not going to be a Muslim city. The worst it can be demographic-wise is what Las Vegas is, which is where I'm from.
I don't believe that. I think London should remain a British city, and I think the city my parents come from, Tehran, should remain a Persian city. I want to preserve my heritage, and I think Europeans should do the same too.
I'm not in favor of ethno-states of any kind.
I think we should have a choice.
I look down upon even Asian countries for their xenophobic decision to try to make it so.
God bless them for doing that. Tokyo should remain Japanese, but we should have a choice whether we want to live in a diverse society or a homogenous society. I want to give people the choice.
People are making that choice, and a plurality, a majority of them even, are saying.
What is the end goal of all this immigration? Do you want to change Henderson into northern part of Las Vegas? Do you want to do that?
No, I like Henderson and I like Las Vegas. I live in Spring Valley, not north.
But what makes Henderson is its people. You know, like people like him right here. He is a part of Henderson.
So are
his
you?
culture.
So are you?
I don't live in Henderson.
Oh.
I live in Summerlin South.
Fairly close. But the point is, so what makes the city is its people. Demographic changes doesn't replace those people. It just adds more people, and as some of them naturally die.
Right.
This isn't literally Muslim people or colored people or brown people coming into an
But
area
we have
and
a
literally
system.
replacing
We have a system where right now there's rivalries between the traditionalists and the outsiders, or the social justice warriors, and it doesn't work. It leads to conflict. And Henderson largely got built because when a neighborhood up north changes, you see all those Cardena supermarkets and all those lower socioeconomic people move
You're kind
in.
of jumping from point to point to point.
Okay, but people leave when a neighborhood changes, and it leads to sprawl, it leads to more homes, it leads to long commutes, it leads to a lot of problems. Diversity really doesn't work.
Are you sure about that, man?
Well, if it was, then every zip code would be the same demographics, but it's not.
No. Can you repeat that last sentence again?
Diversity doesn't work
No,
because
the last part of it. Because
That's not because of us.
Because-
People.
let's go.
The government.
diversity doesn't work because if every neighborhood had the same demographics,
Start being pissed off at this.
because every neighborhood does not have the same demographics zip code wise.
So, okay, first of all, that's not even an argument.
Well, people like to be with people like themselves.
You're-
That's what it is.
Like themselves can mean many different things. It can mean what values you share. It can mean what you like to do. It can mean what kind of.
Oh, well,
things
I
you're a
agree.
fan of.
But
It
I
doesn't
agree.
necessarily
But
mean what you look like.
But culture is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Culture is what I'm talking about. You see that there's taverns and saloons and horseback rides. If we get this massive form of immigration and they start moving into Henderson, Henderson's not going to have the same culture. And I feel like this is an evil plan to wipe out certain cultures, to make them smaller and less significant.
Dude. So here's the thing. African Americans literally were genocided against, literally were killed in mass, literally were actually selectively.
And Muslims
Let me
enslaved them
finish my
too.
point. Let me finish my
Muslims enslaved them.
Let me finish my point. Yeah, sure. That's not even has anything to do with the world. They literally had their culture actively persecuted and attempted to be destroyed.